Okay, so welcome back, friends. So on today's section, we'll be setting up our users post table where users can create a post for a particular topic, and then we can start seeing each post of a particular topic in the topic section. So users can come to create a topic just like the way Nairaland is, and then we can start seeing each post in that particular topic section. So last week we were able to create our admin page for registration, and then we disabled the topics page from being accessed publicly, and then only authenticated users can access the topics page. But then there was one little issue that we did not resolve, which we are going to be resolving today. A user who is logged in can still go to create a topic, which we don't want. We only want the admins who are registered to be able to create a topic, where we have set up a status of admin in our admin table. So if we go to admin, so we'll notice that in our admin table we're able to set that up. So now let me just start my server for my Laravel application. So to start our server, we say php artisan serve, which is for our backend. And then since we are using Laravel Breeze, and then we need to also start our front end. So we create a new terminal and say npm run dev on same directory that we have. This is to enable our design, all those designs that we see for our login page to be able to show up. So npm run dev, and then it is going to start the development server for the front end. And so when this start up, you see node. So these are two different stuff. Now let's go to the database. So the database is mostly what we'll be working with. Now let's look for forum, which is the name of our, and then forum db, which is where we have our information. So we have the users, we have the topic. This is where the topics go into whenever an admin creates a topic. And then in the users table, this is where the information of every user goes to whenever they sign up. And you can see. So we have status also is admin, which is 1. That means true. So that was the person that signed up, an admin, which is Patrick. So whenever a user sign up, their status will be 0. So now let's sign up as a user, and let's go to localhost port 8000. So we preface it with a colon and say 8000, and then it's going to load up. So it will load the default page that we created in the route, that is the slash in routes.php here. Very easy, very simple. And so in web.php rather route, so it will load the welcome page, which is this. So let's see. So the welcome page is blank, and then let's navigate to login, because our welcome page has nothing in the blade file. So that is why it is blank. We know this already, and then we know how to create routes and all those stuff. So if you have been watching the tutorial earlier on, you should be able to do that. Now let's sign up as a normal user, because the users who are not admin don't know the admin URL, so they can't sign up as an admin. So what do we do for normal users? We fill our name. Let's say for example John Doe, which is like a random name, and then John Doe at gmail.com. Oftentimes in a production kind of app, we don't allow people to form their emails, but then this is just for educational purpose. So email validations are oftentimes stricter, which we have to start editing our code base to start making our email validation straight. So now register. When you register, now it's going to register you as a normal user, where you can register to access the forum. Now our welcome page is where we put all the basic things that we see when we go to nairaland.com, and then when we go to nairaland.com, you see that information of, so it says his admin doesn't have a default value, general error. Now this is very good to encounter errors, because when you encounter errors, you'll be able to resolve your application code logic easily. Now the error that is happening here is that the the admin colon, it does not allow null value. That is, you cannot set up a value that is empty inside of it. So now let's go to our model. and let's go to the database parts, which is for database, and let's go to where we have our migrations, which is create users table. Now, what did we do in our migration? We added is admin, which is a boolean value. Now, we were meant to have nullable in front of it. That means it can be ignored and added as null. But then we didn't have nullable when we made our migrations. So I'm not sure we can be able to like migrate again because we've already migrated it before. And so if we try to migrate, we need to just create another new migration file to start doing all of this. So, but this is what we are meant to do anyway. So let's try and see if it's happened. PHP artisan, say, migrate. See what happens. So it's nothing to migrate because we have already migrated before. So we'll be doing this manually in our PHP, in our MySQL database. So we'll go to table users, and then we'll go to the structure, and then we'll go to the column where we have is admin. You can see default is none, so we change it to null. But then this is not the best way to do it anyway. Remember, whenever you are coding, you work with your migrations. That is why in normal coding we like created all our tests and everything, so we don't like make some mistakes that are like going to break our application in production. Some errors are not like errors caused by coding, it's just like logic and mistakes. So where is the default, which is this? We say no. Then that way we know that we can leave is admin as empty whenever we don't like have a admin signing up. Now let's see what happens when we try to sign up again in the registered table. So it says resending this information. So let's try and see. Let's resend this information to see what happens. So successfully we are able to sign up John Doe because we have allowed that part to be empty whenever we fill it. So we don't want to like break our application in production. We oftentimes like make our migration very well. So we add nullable to is admin. That is any column that you know that the users don't like, is optional for the users to fill. It is like for a certain purpose you add nullable to it. But if it is compulsory, you don't make it nullable. So now we are logged in as a user, and then we also have an admin on the same table who is Patrick, who has his admin status to 1. So what we need to now do to block our topics route, because if we go to create topic, I think, which is what we have in our web.php, and then if you go to create topic, which is to create a topic, okay, I think this is the post route, rather it should be topics get. So let's go to the topics. We always want to redirect if a user is not an admin, even when they are logged in. So what do? This is very simple. We go to our controller. In topics, a topics is pointing to the general controller. So this is where all the code for topics is coming. Before it's first of all check this general controller class, and then find the topics method and see if what we are trying to like fetch from the topics is working fine before it now brings the topics page to view and show us topics page. So all we need to now do is go to the topics controller, which is general controller, and then find topics, general controller, then go to the method find topics. So where is the method find topics? So it says return view topics with all the topics info that was gotten from the database. Now we want to check something. So if the current person that is logged in is not an admin, so what do? We need to return them back to the home page regardless. So that means they can't access the topic page. So what do? So we say $user is equals to alt, and then use eliminate. You can see the class, it guesses it for you. So alt, because there's a facade called eliminate facade users, which like stores all the logic for any authenticated user. This is where the power of Laravel comes in, because Laravel is very simple. They've made it everything to be very easy for you. Instead of you to like start going to break a sweat to start coding everything from scratch, they've done what you need to like build a production ready app. All you just need to do is add your own logic, and then before you know it, you are done. So you have a working MVP. So let's go alt. So the alt user is the current user, I think, which is alt user, and then let's dd alt user rather than returning these views. So we dd alt user to see the information of the user. So we are trying to break our code again by not showing any view whenever we try to access create topic. We want to see the information of the current user that is logged in. So dd user, and then pass a semicolon to the back, save. Now let's refresh when we go to slash topics. So let's see what happens. So the current user, you can see dd is the current user. Now let's navigate through each and every array. We should be able to see an information about that user, because there's a way we can see it. It says the primary key is the ID, because these are all the information coming from the database about the current user that is logged in. So I'm trying to look for something. So these are all the power the user has to fill something. I don't want to start checking all of this. What I'm trying to look for is the information about the user. There's a way we used to get this. Let's just so this is the current user, John Doe. Can you see? Now the email is johndoe@gmail.com. The name is John Doe. So what we now want to get is is admin attributes. So we'll say the user, then we'll pass the symbol in front of it and say if this user then rather the information about the user, that is the attribute is admin, we want to check. So we'll pass it into a variable and say is this an admin. We can name that variable is this an admin, but I don't advise you to name your variables this way. If you are just starting to learn tech, you can just learn how to code in not the best form, but then as time goes on you'll see the best practices. But then this is why you need to subscribe to my channel to follow up with the trends on how to code, because I plan on making more videos. So we say if is this an admin. Now we'll pass the variable is this an admin. So what we are passing here is that whenever we get the current user that is logged in using the facade alt, which helps us to determine whenever a user is logged in and get all their information from a session or a cookie or whatever Laravel has developed it. So we'll try to check if is this an admin. We'll get the attribute is admin from their database information, because we know that whenever a user is trying to fill in an information and logging into our app, of course the app has a database that record information of every user. Just like when you go to Facebook, Google, all of them, they have your database information recorded on their server. So we'll try to check the attribute is admin to see if this person is an admin. So if it returns empty or if it returns 0, because MySQL mixes of 0 and 1, there are other databases that mixes of true and false, which is Postgres and the like, but we'll move on to that later on. So we'll say if, so okay, we've already written if. So we say if is this an admin. So we are trying to pass the value of whatever we are getting, and then if you notice in the DD we get null. So we say if this an admin equals to 3 equals to means that whatever is coming from this value should also equal the value of what we are expecting, because we are trying to expect either a null value, 0 value, or a 1 value. So we say if this is an admin equals to null, then we know that this person is not an admin. But then there's one more caveat. What if in the future we change our migrations, which is our database? If you click Ctrl P, database migration, and then we change this to this boolean. For example, if we allow it to update into 1 and 0 whenever a user tries to sign up, instead of we trying to making use of null and all this stuff. So let's go back to the place that we had before. So we say if is this an admin equals to null, and then we'll pass or to the statement. So or means that another condition has to happen. So it can either be either one of them. So we say shift, we hold on the shift key, and then we'll press the symbol beside our curly braces here on our keyboard. So we'll say or, then we'll pass the variable name again. Very easy. Is this an admin equals to 0? So If you're an admin, you are always one, and that represents true. But if you're not an admin, you are always zero. But then because we don't allow our admin, because on our sign up page we are not like filling zero by default. So that why this is why this null condition is coming in. That means if it is empty, that means this person is never an admin. Because no matter how what, when an admin sign up, the status one is always updated for them. So pass these curly braces, and then we can also leave the curly braces and exclude it. But this is not a good coding practice. When you exclude exclude curly braces, that means you just want like one statement at a single line. But then if you want multiple statements on a multiple line, you have to pass curly braces. So I'll just say, okay, fine, I don't want this person to sign up, to be able to access my topics page. So that's where we are heading to. So we say return, and then we return view. So view should be outside, if I'm correct. And then the current view that we want the user to always go back to, because the user is coming from the dashboard, we don't send your daddy, so just go back to your dashboard that you're coming from. We don't want you to be able to access our topics table. So return view dashboard, and then return view dashboard, return view dashboard, and then so return view dashboard. So with, or we don't even need to say with, just say return view dashboard. Now if we return to view dashboard, now let's check our dashboard update. So it is there, and then we ensure that the dashboard update.php is not in any folder aside this views folder, because if it is in alt, we need to preface it with alt. So we notice that dashboard update.php is outside of any of the folder. If it is in layout, we need to preface it with layout. So return view dashboard. Else, then we jump to another line. Then we can now pass these curly braces for multiple line. Else is what happens if our if statement fail, and then so that means this person is an admin if the if statement fails. So we will not do the users again, so we'll return back to how it was before. So we say return view, and then topic. I think topic also is outside, so pass it into a string, topic or topics, and then we pass another value and say width. So width, then the variable that we are trying to like show on our topic, so we say width, and then we pass this variable, which is the variable is this find topic. So we pass find topic, but then before we can pass find topic, we have to give it an alias. Now to give it an alias, let's go back to our topics.b.php file, because we've done this before. The alias we were using is all topics. So all topic represents the topics that is coming from the database. So just go back, then go back to the general controller and just pass all topics. So view with all topics. Now the all topics should now be in a string, rather not as a variable. So all topics, and then it will now point to the find topic, which is what you got from your which is what you got from your database. So find topic, you can see it's complaining because we are using linting when working, and then the linting is always checking for any errors line by line. This is what we use when working with a PHP file. So it says return view all topics. So okay, I think it should be a comma rather, so that way, because if it is multiple elements that we are trying to pass into our views, then we can now pass an array and start using the array arrow key. So that way, now we are all good. So let's see what happens whenever a user tries to like find topic if they are not an admin. Let's load this page and see what happens. Automatically directs them back to the dashboard page. Even when they try to like access the topics again, it's always redirect them. Now let's log in as an admin and let's see the power of what we have done. Because don't forget, the welcome.build.php by default is empty because we have not set up the UI and everything. That's why it's always redirecting to that blank welcome.build.php file. So this is admin status is 1, And let's try to log in as admin. So patrick@gmail.com. Hope I still remember this password. Log in. So Patrick Gmail. And then we pass the password. So let's see. I think my regular password should work. All good. Now let's access the topics page because Patrick is an admin. Of course, you should be able to see the topic, and then he can now start creating his topic and start putting whatever he likes. Um, Frenzy or fun. I want to create a frenzy topic section. It is going to add it there. Now the next stage that we now need to move to is to set up our models for the users table. That is users post table rather. So that users can all post and start like accessing the forum. After that we start building the UI. We have a nice beautiful forum and then we build comment section and all those stuff. And then we also give ability for the admin to be able to ban anybody that is saying rubbish. Whenever they say rubbish on the platform, we just ban them. And then they are unable to use the platform for some days and stuff like that. So thank you very much. I will see you on my next session. And then if you are worried that why do I like record my videos in short sections, this is because of the amount of time and the um strength it takes to like record one of these videos. If I try to like record for long, it's like my cause issues, and so that's why I just try to like break my video into bits by bits. So that way. So thank you very much. I hope you are able to learn something useful.